In this screencast, we will go over computational resources of the life science informatics login compute nodes. Some information before we get started on that. For Mac OS folks, 10.8x, I think that's Snow Leopard. The operating system should include tools like SSH, SCP, and SFTP. You may need to load for interactive windowing access, load the Xquartz package, and I've got the link there. 10.7, the prior version of that operating system has everything including X, usually. There's some other fun tools that give you GUI point-and-click type interaction with the server. That's CyberDuck, which can be downloaded from University of Alaska's OIT software download. And secure file share access, which we won't talk about in this screencast, is Goliath. For Windows folks, to connect via SSH, good things to have is a secure shell client that provides SSH. UA's OIT downloads has the secure shell software. A popular package of mine is PuTTY. To move files between your computer and the login cluster called Tuxedo, which we'll get to in a second, is WinSCP. That's a nice point and drop and click type package. An X-windowing open source package for Windows is called Xming. There's some nice instructions at the Arctic Region Supercomputing Center on how to obtain that package and install it and integrate it with PuTTY. For secure file share, when you get to it, there's one utility that is recommended. It's called BitConnects, and it's got a bunch of tools: FTP, SCP, SFTP, and the WebDev protocol. All right, so let's switch over to our terminals here. Oh, I'm still logged in here. I'm on a Mac OS X system, and I've opened up two terminals, the top one being on the local system, and the lower one, which I will connect to the login cluster. So the program we're going to run is similar to the one in what I did in the previous screencast. For the portal, is we're going to run an R script with a data file. And let's go about. So there's our data files on our local system, and now what we've got to do is get these files and log into log into the system and run the programs, look at the data, maybe bring the data back. So first thing, let's log into the remote system. Now, the system doesn't use a standard SSH port. Normally that's 22, but what I've done is specified the port that is actually active for that system. And the login system is Tuxedo, Embry, Alaska, EDU. Now, if your username on your Mac is not the same as the username that was given to you on the portal, you're going to have to specify that in the SSH script by username @ or the password will just not work. And now I've logged in. I can see where I'm at. I'm using standard Unix commands. So let me create a test directory, test job. Created it, it shows that it's a directory, and I will change directory into it. And there's nothing there right now. So now we've got to use SCP now, and what we want is this R script, and I believe this is called a Nexus file, and I forgot to specify the port number. Uses a different way of specifying the port number for SCP. And we're going to specify myself at Tuxedo, Alaska, edu, and then I'm going to say put it in my test job directory. And they transferred, and I get my prompt back. And if I go down to, see that I have my R script in the Nexus file. And we can look at the R script. Loads the library, reads the data file, and runs through some ancestral state reconstruction functions and produces some output. So if I do this right, oh, that didn't give me any output. So working on the command line is nice, but you have to know what you're doing. So obviously, again, I didn't do the right thing. Anyway, when I ran the batch the first time, this creates an output file, the ape_job r.rout, and we can look at that file. So there it loads the library, and then reads the data file, runs through the functions, and then we have the ancestral states, our output. Now, so this file is on the remote system. If we want to take it with us, then we need to bring it back to our system. So I can use SCP to bring it back to the system, or I can use, I'll use SFTP this time. And SFTP works much like FTP. Test job. And I see my output file, so let's get it. And you can see it finished downloading. Bye. And there's our output file. And we can now look at it on our local system, and we can walk out of the coffee shop, and we've got our data that we can go home and work with. So this provides a brief introduction on what it looks like to do work on the login cluster.